Lena Derwent had worked at Mason's for less than a week when they started making fun of her. "Well, hi there, handsome," they said when she was out of sight. "My name is Lena, and I come to you from the 1980s. "She looks like an art teacher," said Gemma from sales. "Don't you think? Kind of over the top, kind of demented." And Joe from payroll laughed, as he often did when Gemma spoke, because he knew Gemma was unkind, but what if she were to come unfurled, be private, open, alone with Joe? What then? So it embarrassed him to live on the same street as Lena Derwent and to have recognised her as soon as he saw her at Mason's with her large fuzzed hair, her slipped lipstick, her cleavage. She was the middle-aged woman in number 12 who was out every Saturday working in her garden, whose large backside hung above her low front fence like the face of a sunflower. Sometimes she stood up from her gardening and said, "Morning, sweetheart," as he passed with his dog. Joe, smiling, polite, was never sure if the sweetheart was aimed at him or the dog. And if she was still outside when he returned from his walk, he might smile again as she made an exaggerated motion, wiping her perspiring forehead with one arm or pretending to bark at Groucho. She had a friendly bark. Groucho always replied, seeming to like it. Once, she asked Joe in for a cool drink and some water for the pooch, and Joe stammered something out, said he had plans, tried not to walk that way again. So when Lena had arrived at Mason's and said right away to Joe, "Hello, stranger," it became necessary to laugh when Gemma spoke, when she was unkind. "How do you know her?" Gemma had asked, and Joe explained that they were neighbours. "Oh, out there in Murder Town," she said, and he smiled. He disliked that name, but it was the only private joke they shared. "Right in the heart of Murder Town," he said. A shudder passed through her, outsize, fastidious. "Beats me how any of you can live out there." "Pure balls," he said. Gemma laughed, and someone called her name, so Gemma went. Joe lived in Murder Town because his parents had lived there before they died, not of murder, but of natural causes, and now he lived in their house. This meant he had to drive to work and back each day along a highway that cut through a state forest. The trees of the forest rose up around his car. Orderly pine plantations in some parts, and in others, long, lean eucalypts with their loose leaves and their bark littering the greenish ground. The real name of Joe's town was Barrow. A man had lived in Barrow once, and in the 1990s this man used to drive the same highway, up and down for hours, to find a person, any person who looked far from home, standing with a backpack at a junction or a bus stop, or just walking along the road or waiting with a thumb out for a ride, and this man would offer them a ride, and if they accepted, he would kill them and take their bodies to the forest. Or he'd take them to the forest and kill them there. Joe wasn't sure. The man had been caught and tried and had been in prison for several years. Joe drove daily through the forest, and there were no longer any hitchhikers on that highway.